on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dude love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on to the hearse. Party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Grand Rising, everybody. Happy Thursday to all of you beautiful people out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. We got a great Thursday up for you today. And, you know, we got to do this together. Me and my guy, Big O. What's up, Big O?
Good morning, Trey. How are you?
Hey, I'm well. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm good. It's Thursday. It looks like weather might be okay.
Yeah, a little bit hit or miss these days.
Looking forward to this weekend. We got lots of national headlines today, but also some local news. So we'll get right into it. Good morning. I want to welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show and remind you that right now, as in right now, is a perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. There we've got SoundCloud, but you can also check out Google, Spotify, iTunes. Just search Converge Media Network. Also, important, we keep staying on message on this, is the vaccine is readily available here in King County. If you want to get vaccinated, I'm going to put this link in here for you right now. If you want to get vaccinated, you can just click this link and you can find a location that's convenient, that's near you. And also what you can do, once you click that, in some cases, they can even bring the vaccine to you. But you don't have to pay for it. That's a big thing too. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to pay for the vaccine, but it is readily available in King County. So we want to get that out there. Man, Trey, we'll jump right into it here from national, I guess international news is what's going on down there at the border, on the Texas border with these Haitians. And we've been following that story there. And we talked about it a bit yesterday that some Haitians actually got in, some flown back. It's just a lot going on all around. We got a clip right here from CBS Mornings.
There's confusion this morning about the Biden administration's policy on thousands of migrants who have been camping on the southern border of Texas. Many of the 15,000 migrants have been deported to their native Haiti. But sources tell CBS News more than 1,000 have been allowed into the U.S. to ask for asylum. The governor of Texas has been using a line of police cars to keep the migrants out. Manuel Bojorquez is at the Border Patrol Station in Brackettville, about 30 miles east of Del Rio. Manuel, good morning.
Good morning. Many of the migrants who have been allowed to enter the United States have been issued notices to appear at an immigration court within 60 days. In the meantime, the Biden administration says it's working with South American countries like Brazil and Chile to see if they will allow the return of Haitian migrants who have recently lived there.
Haitian migrants scrambling to find their place in line. And arguments break out on the tarmac as U.S. deportation flights ramp up in an effort to clear out the camp in Del Rio in the next 9 to 10 days. More than 1,400 Haitians have been deported since Sunday, and there are plans for as many as 7 flights a day to their homeland. But fewer than 5,000 migrants remain in the camp as conditions deteriorate.
Just outside the bridge camp, there are state troopers lined up as far as the eye can see in either direction here. The point is to build a wall of vehicles to prevent anyone from slipping into the U.S.
Tiffany Burrow is director of operations for an organization in Del Rio that is helping migrants who are released into the U.S.
We see people who are allowed to continue on in their asylum seeking process, but it appears that the majority are not.
Under the bridge, there are a lot more people. And over here, we're seeing a trickle of them, although it's in the hundreds. So it's a lot for us, too.
Meanwhile, in Washington, members of the Congressional Black Caucus met with White House officials demanding accountability for what they consider the mistreatment of migrants.
We witnessed cowboys with their reins again whipping black people, Haitians, into the water, and we're saying to the president and everybody else, you got to stop this madness.
Those lawmakers are also calling for the removal of Border Patrol agents who were seen on horseback intimidating migrants. Those agents are currently under investigation, and during that time, they have been reassigned to administrative duties. Tony?
Meanwhile, comprehensive immigration reform is stalled on all fronts. Manny, thank you very much.
Yeah, this is, constantly evolving, this story right here. And as we think about the numbers that are out there, I just think about the families that are really trying to find a pathway towards a better life. And, as we've been kind of reporting on this over the last week here, really it's been understanding that there's a wide variety of reasons why people found themselves there. But the ideas that this just happened overnight has really been debunked around, understanding the parameters of why people are there. And when we talk about 5,000 people and now seeing that majority of them are not able to get the asylum that they're actually seeking, this is something that is constantly unfolding before our eyes. Oh,
yeah, no, and the story unfolds a bit more. So Daniel Foote, who is actually, or was until this morning, the special envoy to Haiti. And apparently Daniel Foote has a reputation in working in troubled places around the world. Daniel Foote resigned earlier today and said, I will not be associated with the United States' inhumane, counterproductive decision to deport thousands of Haitian refugees and illegal immigrants to Haiti. And so this is the U.S. special envoy to Haiti. And he resigned this morning. He said, I'm not going to be a part of this.
You know what? That actually speaks volumes when we're talking about understanding the measures that are being taken there. Look, we've talked about how horrible it is, the nature of what's going on, people not actually coming with a sense of compassion, which is so necessary when you're dealing with these delicate situations of, folks seeking asylum. But, that really speaks volumes. And honestly, at the end of the day, it takes champions like Daniel Foote to step out and say, look, I'm not going to be a part of this. And maybe that action right there will really have us waking up and have the Biden administration realize that there was some real missteps here and some horrible practices that took place. What are we going to do now to kind of backtrack on that? What are we going to do now to fix it?
Yeah. Keeping it right here in national news, the George Floyd police reform bill is dead on arrival in Washington, D.C. There have been negotiations going on with Cory Booker on the Democratic side, and man, the name now escapes me, but the only Black Republican in the Senate. They were basically negotiating back and forth on the George Floyd police reform bill. And, you know, we talked about this a lot, especially when the verdict first came out a few months ago. And apparently they've been going back and forth, but the big sticking point had been around qualified immunity. And Cory Booker issued a statement, said, we weren't making any more meaningful progress on establishing really substantive reform for Americans policing. And that's Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey. So people who had high hopes, and, you know, the Biden administration talked about a police reform bill and things moving forward. But Tim Scott, that's the senator for South Carolina. But ultimately, what's happened is that this bill is DOA, and, you know, we're not going to see any police reform, at least on the federal level, probably anytime soon.
You know, this is something that is unfortunate beyond measure, but also I think for me and others that have really been understanding and kind of following a lot of these negotiations, it's not surprising. I think one of the big things that I've really been able to have conversations with folks, and it's like, at the end of the day, this is something that is a surface level move, right? And as much as we wanted it to be substantive, you know, and really have some depth and breadth to it, when you're not really involving a lot of folks that have been on the front lines, a lot of the activists and advocacy that really got it to that point to understand how to iron out the wrinkles, and it's just going back and forth, you know, at the level of, you know, a Cory Booker and a Tim Scott. Unfortunately, you know, folks were like, man, this is all for show. It's not going to matter. It's not going to amount to anything. And this is unfortunate because when you hear that, for me, I'm an optimist. And so I want to be like, wait a minute, nah, but finally they're having the discussions. You know, I always love to say, you know, certain things are steps in the right direction when we're talking about progress, when we're talking about learning from the mistakes of this nation and the atrocities of our history. You know, so much of it is that it's about righting the wrongs, right? There's other things like policing is one of the main things that we see that was steeped in, you know, a lot of slave mentality when we think about the reason why police grew the way that they did over the course of this nation's history. So this is unfortunate. But honestly, I gotta say that there's people out there that are like, man, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, well, you know, in a broader sense, the Biden administration right now is taking a lot of L's, you know, like right all across the board. I know that Biden went in with high hopes, and then early on, you know, got some success around COVID, the vaccine, and some everything else. But they've got this issue here, this police reform bill, clearly this issue there on the Texas border. You've got international issues. You know, the French are mad at him. There's a lot of stuff that, and even the infrastructure bill and the debt, the raise the debt limit. There's a risk that the debt limit won't be raised out there. And so, like, Biden, he's going in on him. Like, you know, their administration's in a lot of tough spots. And you know, I think that a lot of people early on, maybe even me and you, were wishful thinkers on a lot of stuff. You know, I mean, people are supposed to be optimistic, and we'll see what happens. But, you know, it's police reform bill. But the biggest thing, qualified immunity, definitely the sticking point right there, where it just became a whole. Tim Scott, the Republican side, had conceded to a lot of things. But qualified immunity is definitely one of them that they chose not to. And with a 2022 elections coming up, and most likely the Democrats are going to lose the House, we'll see, the next time that this kind of legislation even gets this far.
Yeah, that's really the truth, and this is why a lot of people see politics as a game. It's all about who has the most power, who has the most support for this or for that. It's about who you've been able to connect with. A lot of the times, it's really not about the people and the constituents, and that's unfortunate too when we think about the history of politics in this country as well. And I keep mentioning history because that's what we really have to learn from. And I think it sets a precedence and a foundation for why so many people flooded the streets in 2020 and why people are still continuing to be advocates for certain reforms today. And it is because as we all learn so much more about the truth of this nation and the history of it, honestly, there's a lot of people that are waking up to these truths and that are saying, you know what, I don't want to be in a country where that is the truth. How do we change it? How do we do something different? Set a new course forward. And so you're right, as we see, this 2022 election, as that's going to roll out, we'll just have to see how it plays out, man. You're absolutely right. Who knows?
Right. And one thing I did want to comment on the first clip there, covering Haiti, is you see your auntie Maxine. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got no problem saying how she feels. In the black congressional caucus, at least they vocalized their concern about what's going on over there. Bringing it back here locally, still on a police issue, the CPC. Man, Community Police Commission, 4 years after passing unanimously, Seattle's police accountability ordinance remains partially unimplemented, largely due to police union contracts. And, the interesting thing is here, let me go ahead and put this link here in the comments. So this is coming from the Community Police Commission, right? And one of the things that we do know here following police issues that a lot of people, some of the biggest things that they have complaints about, they talk about comes down to the contract, right? Talk about a lot of other things, but man, it comes down to the actual contract. And according to the CPC here, there's 32 critical provisions of the 2017 accountability ordinance remain unimplemented due to Seattle police contracts. And, some of the things they're talking about here, they include provisions, create strong policies in areas often abused by police officers like secondary employment or moonlighting, allow for full civilian investigation of police misconduct, close loopholes police officers used to avoid discipline, and fix Seattle's broken police disciplinary appeal system that still has unresolved cases dating back to 2016. Oh, I didn't even see here. The good Revs quoted in here, huh? The data shows that the police contracts remain among the top impediments to police accountability. This should act as a wake-up call to elected leaders in Seattle and across Washington state. We must both demand Seattle leaders fully implement the accountability ordinance to ensure Washington state law guarantees communities have strong police accountability systems moving forward. I believe this contract, it's under negotiation. And I remember the one thing back in May, there was the press conference right after the verdict came out in the George Floyd case. And my main question to Mayor Durkin and Chief Diaz was like, yeah, sure, the police, they definitely deserve a fair contract, but so do the citizens, right? The citizen stakeholder, the citizens deserve a fair contract as well. Either way, though, the CPC, they're letting it be known, putting it out there.
Well, I'm glad that they are putting it out there because we need to be informed and educated on things like this. I think there's a lot of people that follow certain headlines, right? And it's like, oh man, we can celebrate when we see that there was this unanimous decision to pass this reform, right? Like, yes. But to understand the nuances of what is and is not happening is a whole nother story. And when you think about 32 of these reforms are not even being enacted right now due to a contract, that lets you know that there is certain powers that be that will continue to want the systems to stay the way that they are. We are, so much of this is talking about moving things forward, changing the way that we do business as a country, as a city, as a state. So much of this is about not always staying so comfortable in the status quo or antiquated systems that got us to where we are today. And yet there's such a powerful force when you talk about these police contracts, and when you talk about how that's what's keeping certain things at bay. Look, I'm one for, everybody to really be able to negotiate. When you have, a body like police officers who are looking out for their best interests in regard to their contract, I understand that. But I think Omari is 100% correct when we talk about the people of the city also really have, an opportunity here to be respected in those contracts. What is it that the police are there for? To protect and serve. And so why is it that there's such a resistance toward changing the way that they do that? We see it on so many different levels. And I think that now is really an opportune time to be bold and do things differently. And we saw that with legislation we passed here throughout the state in this last legislative session. But again, these contracts are making it hard. And I love how the article pointed out that really those 32 things that are not happening are some of the biggest parts of the entire thing.
Right. So if viewers recall that early last year, the city of Seattle had actually moved to lift the consent decree, right? And ultimately, it didn't get lifted at that time. And then we went into Seattle protests, George Floyd and everything else. But the one major pushback, and there's people who follow police accountability, these different groups, even the CPC, that the Seattle Police Department had met a fair amount of benchmarks. But when it came down, their biggest sticking point of pushing back with the consent decree being lifted is there wasn't enough accountability. It's the accountability portion that's in the contract. And, the way this thing works is that if there's no agreement on the contract, it just reverts back to the old contract. And then whenever they do get a new contract, guys get like a bonus or back pay because they didn't get a rate, an increase during the time because they were working on their old contract. Fundamentally, I think the most people, probably except for SPOG, most people are like, there needs to be some changes here. I mean, the city of Seattle, and it really depends who's negotiating, what their backbone looks like, to be honest with you. The city of Seattle negotiated away a lot of powers of OPA and a lot of powers of OIG, the Office of Inspector General, in this last contract. They were both supposed to have more actual powers than they do, but they were negotiated away. And so, the one thing I'd be looking for in a police contract is if you're going to hire people, a contract should be fair, of course, through your hiring, but it has to be fair to the citizens. And so, we'll see what's going on. Like I said, the CPC's out there making noise.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And you know what? Shout out to everybody who's pouring their efforts into the CPC. We do need groups like that. And I'm glad that the city of Seattle is doing it. Other cities, not so much. There's a lot of resistance towards community groups that are going to be involved over police oversight, police accountability. There's a lot of resistance there. So I'm glad that the city of Seattle is really being a model for that with groups like CPC.
Yep, and keeping it on police. Capitol Hill Seattle blog. The East Precinct has removed temporary security fence that followed CHOP Fortress Wall. And that's from Justin Carter over there at the Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Put this in here because I know that fencing well. Up there at Capitol Hill, the East Precinct, people might recall that it's gone through a lot of transformations over the last year. There was the big cement barriers and a huge outer fence. And then they finally took that down and they kept another fencing, everything else. And it was restrictive to the public. It's a public building. And so the fencing has finally come down up there on the East Precinct. And hopefully it'll stay down.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it will. I mean, this is something that it was a sign of the times when it got put up there during the eras of CHOP. And it, the fact that it remained for so long, I think was kind of surprising to a lot of folks, because it was there to really sit here and create a barrier, because there was some level of threat that the precinct was going to be, burned down. It was going to be, some type of damage was going to happen. And ultimately, I think that threat has been really diminished over time. And even as we talk about the reasons for the CHOP, let's just go back to the beginning. At the end of the day, people just were trying to walk past the precinct, and they wouldn't let them pass the precinct there, because they had these ideas back then that something was going to happen, some type of property damage, some type of destruction of the precinct. And that wasn't really where people were coming from at all. They just wanted to pass by it and walk peacefully as they protested. So the idea that there was going to be some type of damage has really led to a lot of things that our city became really nationally and internationally known for when we think about the CHOP times. And here we are, over a year later now, and that barrier was still there. So I think you're right. Oh, I hope it stays down.
All right, good. Oh, I do got, I don't know if this is good news or, well, it's definitely bad news, but this was put in the show as good news. Initially, we talked about Feedco, Chef Fernandez, it's the Feedco burger right there on 23rd and Union, and opening tomorrow's supposed to be the grand opening of their new location there on Green Lake. And this is a high profile street right there in Green Lake where they're located. And so I put in here that grand opening on Friday, and I'll put this up there, the Green Lake location of Feedco Burgers. And then Chef Fernandez hit me a little while ago, and he said, they got broken into again. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, that's what I'm telling people. A lot of people, when people talk about crime in the city, because it don't impact you or something, it's easy to be like, whatever. But this is a small business owner, opened their first location there in the Central District, expanding their business out there in the Green Lake, and been broken into twice now in less than a week. And they're just trying to get their grand opening going. And, they're kind of feeling like they're not welcome in the neighborhood. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, the small business owners, these people taking their savings and everything else, their love of food, their love of burgers, want to open up the restaurant, broken into again.
Oh my word, Francis. This is unfortunate. Just sad to hear this, honestly, because as I talked about when we first talked about this story here on the Morning Update show, I said, look, you've been really open to building relationship and being present in community. The ideas that this is happening to your establishment up there in Green Lake, it really does say a lot. I'm not sure what people have an issue with. This is really just telling me, I'm just shocked that you would get broken into again. I just saw the post about the reopening, the grand opening, and I was so excited. So this is news to my ears, man. Sending love to the whole Feedco team. Yeah, no, it's crazy because we plan to go up there today and check in and hopefully get a burger or something, soft opening, everything else. So we're still going to come check on you, Chef Fernandez, and sending you, a lot of good energy. And man, let's see if we can get this thing open up there and really support you in the best way possible. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, the Morning Update show continues.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006 with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
Businesses are largely in COVID. Small businesses have been almost twice as likely to shutter.
Disproportionately so.
More than half of black business owners
struggling to obtain federal paycheck protection.
COVID-19
on African Americans. Somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, to the late night legends and the pioneers of legacy, for the curators of the culture, for the family franchise, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Apply today for a variety of business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us to help your rise.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. As you know right now, this is my favorite part of the show. It is Support Black Business, powered by Comcast Rise. So today, we actually went back in the archives here when Jake Gravbrot caught up with Chef Trey Lamont, and Chef Trey Lamont showed us how to really get down on the salmon.
So what I want to do is I want to show you guys what I look for in choosing salmon. Is today supposed to be the first day of Copper River?
Yeah, we late though.
You're late?
Yeah.
Is that me? I'm late.
No, we're late.
Didn't get any yet.
No.
What I look for when I'm buying salmon is like the eye clarity and the firmness of the fish, and everything. You know, you just touch it, see if it's a little like if it has a little give, then you know it's not as fresh. But if it's like really firm, then it's super fresh. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some fresh wild Alaskan salmon. It's $34.50 a pound compared to the $15.99 a pound, which is farm raised. But I'm gonna get the wild king salmon, and we're gonna go from there. So the salmon that we got is king salmon, wild caught king salmon. What we have to do is trim it a little bit and take some of the belly off. I usually try to go the width of the knife here. And how we do this is we season both sides. We have our beautiful Cuban spice rub and our salt. So what I do is I start in a cold pan, a cool pan, and not a hot pan, because I don't want to shock the flesh of the salmon. So I'm gonna hit it with a little olive oil. I'm gonna place it flesh side down, and then you season both sides. There we go, like that. And then I bring it to temp. I'm gonna put some butter in there. Don't overcook it. You should treat salmon like steak, right? You should have it nice and either medium rare, medium well. So it's not done because it's really soft in the middle, right? It's not firm enough, but we got it where we want it to be, so we could cook it the rest of the way in the oven. So you get your sear. You do the same thing for steak, but we're gonna go like this. And we're gonna pop it in the oven there. I'm gonna soak these in the cold water here. It's going to take some of the harshness off of the onion, some of the bite, but it's gonna leave the flavor of the onion, and it also curls them. And the salmon's almost done. Timing, oh man, I'd say about 7 minutes. total cooking of that fish. That's pretty much it.
Beautiful.
There it is right there. Jake, we were just joking. We never got any of the CCS salmon tray.
Yes, looking so mouth-watering. I remember because I thought we were going to go in that day, and I was so excited, and we did not. You're right.
Yeah, Chef Trey Lamont, we still coming to see you, man. You owe us some salmon. All right, second favorite part of the show. Black Business Relief. All right, we're talking Black Business Relief right here. We got the slide. Man, $1 million right now in $10,000 grants, small businesses in King and Paris County. I'm gonna go ahead and put this link right here in the comments. Comcast Rise, being intentional about it, trying to get it out there. So between now and the end of the month is a period to learn more about the Comcast Rise grant opportunity. There it is right there. It's a different one. Where's the new Rise? It's in there somewhere. And after that, from the 1st to the 14th, you can actually apply. And these are, like I said, $10,000 grants. And no, you don't have to be a Comcast customer to apply for the grant, but grant opportunity is there. And so we want to make sure and let people know. And also, if you're out there and you have a grant or opportunities for small businesses, and especially small businesses in the Black community, send us an email. Email us info@whereweconverge.com. We want to hear from you so we can get that information out to the public. We want to be able to help as many Black businesses in our broadcast area as possible. Good stuff there. We're going to take a quick break right now, and the Morning Update show continues.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Welcome back to the Morning Update show. Mari Salisbury, Trey Holiday.
Hey.
All right. Man, things are moving along here. We're talking about some upcoming events that are happening here in the city. We've been talking about them. They're also here on our event calendar, but now we got some cool looking slides to go along with it. Remind everybody up first, Anita Hill. Anita Hill live at the Moore, and that's on October 20th. STG presents. We'll go ahead and we'll put that link there in the comments. People interested in that. I believe Dr. Hill has a new book out, and we're talking about the new book, and so that is there. Put that in here. This is one also excited about because they're going to be here in the studio, and that's the Black Tones. Remember, Black Tones are live at Pier 62. It's going to be a great concert series going on there. And man, Eva and Cedric, they're going to be right here in the studio October 1st. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like I've been saying, man, following their journey and their musical journey and their genius, it's just been awesome. The fact that they're going to be here in the studio and down there on the pier, just a beautiful thing all around. Excited.
Yeah, no, man, it's good stuff. See, I'm on, by the way, everybody, I'm on double duty this week. Curtis Delgado II. He's out shooting a music video, which is great, by the way. And so I'm operating the computer too. So if you see me looking down, I just like to keep it real with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Multitasking over here. What else do we got? So this is tomorrow. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Teaming up with the City Club and actually moderating a discussion here. It's called Engage 2021, More Than a Game. And that's at 12 p.m. And it's great because I'm talking to female executives from the Kraken, from the Seahawks, and from the Sounders. And it's going to be good because, it's not X's and O's, but it's really about how these sports teams are really, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, dealing with diversity, either inside their organization or externally with the public. And it gives some insight into, what's really going on.
Yeah, this is awesome. Oh, and I'm glad that they recognize that, hey, let's get Omari to help moderate this discussion with these powerful women. You're surrounded by powerful women here at Converge. You keep always uplifting so many of the folks that are in our community. And this is great to be able to bring your talent to this event, man. Kudos to you, bro.
Oh, man, thanks. Oh, people are asking. I got this link. You see them over here working. Let me put this link in the comment for tomorrow. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock. So actually tomorrow's show is going to end in a little bit early. All the shows this week are a little bit early. And last up, man, this is going to be a good show tonight. I've been talking about this. Clapback culture, 7 o'clock tonight. Mike Davis, Julia Jesse, and man, they talking about a lot of stuff. They're following up on missing white woman syndrome. So they're going to be discussing that. They're talking about what's going on. Biden administration, the Haitians at the border. 7 o'clock tonight. Be a really good clapback culture. Really encourage everybody to tune in. And
yeah. I got to say, I'm not shocked that they're going to be touching on the missing white women syndrome. I'm sure that Julia Jesse and Mike Davis are going to have a lot of great discussion around that and going to be able to dive deep. And I encourage y'all, watch Clapback Culture tonight. It's not going to be one to miss.
No, good stuff. All right, Trey Holiday, any last words before we get out of here?
For me, it's always the same, you guys. See yourself as a part of an amazing solution out there. There's so many different ways to do so. And every day on the Morning Update show, we're either showing you how there's a lack of that. And when we talk about, antiquated systems, folks wanting to kind of stay in certain things, or we're showing you guys inspiration of folks that are doing it. So I hope you find your way to an amazing solution.
All right, good stuff. Once again, tonight, 7 o'clock, Clapback Culture, Julia Jesse and Mike Davis. And otherwise, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.